We starting over.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I didn't tell you that my mom called and told me that we shouldn't just watch Black movies. We should also watch white movies so that you can teach me about your culture.
Yeah, you're not exposed to it ever.
So I decided we would watch Joe Exotic.
Hey!
Welcome to the Weldons on the web or whatever. I don't really know what the name of the channel is yet. I'm taking my time, filling out. But anyway, I'm Brianna.
And I'm Spencer.
We are going to discuss Joe Exotic today. Or, I'm sorry, the Tiger King. We're going to discuss the Tiger King and answer the question, should you watch it? And then we will go into spoiler territory. Hopefully I don't forget to say, okay, spoilers. But I think people want to know if they should watch it, right?
Yep.
And then Spencer has some memes to share with us. So this is going to be a really rich episode. Let's get started. Did you like the show?
Yeah. It's very entertaining. It's perfect timing. Everybody's stuck at home.
Which is what a lot of the memes are saying. Like, the government gave us the Tiger King.
Yeah. Release the Tiger King.
Yeah. Well, I was familiar with the story because I listened to a Wondery podcast. I think it was called Joe Exotic.
It was, yeah.
And I wasn't really interested in the podcast. I think I listened to like 3 or 4 episodes, but it just like it was just kind of like a lot of very unimportant drama to me, which I think is what you see in the show. It's kind of like petty, catty, and it's all around and it's all around like tigers and stuff. It just seems so unimportant. I'm like,
easy now.
To be, I mean,
somebody upset.
to have your life like be able to be centered around something that's like completely superfluous to our everyday lives just seems privileged, I guess. So why do you think people should or shouldn't watch it?
You should watch it because it's very entertaining. Lots of twists and turns. And yeah, I think it's pretty well done. I don't think it was like cheap by any means.
Well, it's Netflix. What if you had to like, what was your thought or your feeling when you completed it?
It's not completely finished, so.
What do you mean it's not finished?
He's still fighting them in court, so.
Hold that thought. My thought afterwards was just kind of like, what? This too much. There's so much going on in this story. Like, where you start the first episode, you think it's going to be about this, and you're like, how can this be 7 episodes? But there are like so many sagas in the story that it really is, it's like kind of too, it's crazy. I don't feel like you would write a story as dramatic as Joe Exotic's story. I feel like you could easily not watch this. I didn't learn anything about anybody. No, I did not. The animals looked very nice and I kind of appreciated them more, but I don't know anything more about the industry, or I just didn't learn anything. However, if you are a part of popular culture, you need to watch it because I just have a feeling like people are going to be referencing this show for at least for the rest of the quarantine.
Yeah, I mean, the news cycle is crazy right now, so it might have a short life.
And I think there are already a lot of references, which motivated us to watch it because I wasn't going to watch it until everybody else was watching it.
When it hits number 1 on the Netflix charts, you gotta check it out.
If you are looking for like riveting stories and human experiences and just like sometimes you watch a story, you like experience that thing that you're not gonna experience in your own life. This is not what this story is about. Like, we're never gonna find ourselves in that situation, or anyone we know, or any, like, even remotely, because it's just so redneck. I don't know. It's just like,
Yeah, no,
this isn't anybody's life.
no, it's not.
But I mean, you gotta watch it. If
Yeah,
you're
it's
part,
great.
if you're part of popular culture, you gotta watch it.
If you're, yeah.
I'm not gonna say it's great though.
What was okay?
It was just
get
like
into
a
that.
lot of like unimportant stuff to me.
But to the story itself, I don't think they had unimportant things in there. There was no like.
No, it wasn't a bad telling of the story. It's just like
Yeah, of course.
I
The story
wasn't-
doesn't change like any big picture, like world things. Of course not.
it just wasn't. It was the people were captivating, but the drama itself was just like self-fueling. Like, there was nothing really to it. There was no redemption. There was no hero in the story, which I think I need.
Maybe that's a you thing, because of course it's
I'm
real.
not saying it's a bad show or bad story.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's kind of trivial, all of their issues. Sorry, you don't
100%.
want me to have a cat thing. And then he goes and makes it worse by making the name of his company basically the name of her company, and then posting all this stuff online about her. Like, you made that problem. I can't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
I definitely don't feel bad for Carol Baskin.
Nope.
So that's what I'm trying to express. Okay, now we're gonna talk about the show. So if you haven't watched it and you clicked on this to see if you should watch it, hopefully you got your answer. Okay, so the main villain, I mean, it honestly seems like Joe was the villain, because by the end of the story, nobody checking for Joe at all. Everybody except Saf, the girl who lost her arm, and the guy with no legs. Those were the only ones who were really sympathetic to him.
To him, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could look at it that way. I don't think that the average viewer is gonna come away looking negatively at Joe.
I don't feel like, I didn't get that Joe was a bad person. I think Joe's a good person.
Yeah, he just.
But it's unfortunate that he made
Exotic.
so many enemies. He
Brought
for
it
sure.
on himself, but yeah.
I didn't understand how he became enemies with Jeff Lowe. Oh, because of the money. He claimed that Joe embezzled his money.
Yeah, so Jeff came on to save him and did so, but then felt like Joe then like took advantage of him and his money. Basically.
Okay.
And,
Also,
and
where
then
did Jeff get his money?
We didn't get into that. He also was maybe rich, maybe just faked rich, but he eventually he wanted to own the zoo. So that's where it came into like.
Let's start at the top, really. What do you have to say about Carol Baskin?
Hypocrite. Like, I don't know what else to call her.
Spencer couldn't figure out, which I don't have an answer for either, frankly, what she was doing with Big Cat Rescue was any different than what Jeff or Joe was doing. Like, how she was making money off of them. She was making money off of the
Yes.
animals.
Well, every person that came into her place paid to come into her place.
So it was never clear what the separation was. I thought she was trying to like protect animals, but I don't know.
The whole thing was, we don't want big cats in these cages, and then all she does is put cats in cages.
I don't know.
And then also pay people to come look at them and pet them. I never understood the conflict.
I will say about Carol that I think she was very attractive in her younger years. I felt like I could see why she might have had like a hold on the men around her. I really wish Spencer kept commenting on her eyes being far apart. I didn't necessarily notice that, but I do think that she should have tried putting the dark color right here to draw some attention to the center of her face. That I couldn't stop looking at how she did her eyebrows, her eyeshadow. Now, do you think she killed her husband?
Am I supposed to answer this now?
Yeah.
Yes, or had someone else kill her husband. Yes.
She's too carefree. But I also feel like she could...
Literally at no point during the interviews did she get emotional, look emotional, other than laughing.
That's true.
Also, no one just flies commercial to a country and then is no trace of that person.
Well, I thought he was in his own plane and he had several plane crashes. Remember? I think you may have left the room, but she said like...
Nope. I was doing my stretches on the floor.
Okay. She was like, he was never right after that one plane crash.
Yeah, that was her thing. But they literally found his car, his van or whatever at the airport, and it was a scheduled flight that he was supposed to be on.
I think overall, I just didn't like Carol because I felt like she was pretending to be altruistic and be caring about the animals, but really she just wanted to be the queen in the field, in the space. Like she couldn't just have her animals and like do her thing. I felt like she had to make an impact by shutting other people down, which was a huge problem for Joe. And I don't know why she fixated on Joe. Was he the most popular?
Yeah, I assume he came up on the radar. But yeah, that was my whole thing. I didn't understand why she hated on these other people that were doing the exact same thing.
I mean, I can imagine there were some people who were being abusive to the animals, but I didn't see that. All right, so Carol Baskin hates Joe.
Bad person.
I would say that I don't get a good vibe from her. Then she sues him, rightfully so. He definitely infringed on her image and all this stuff, and he should have just left it alone.
Yeah, no, I get why he was doing that to her and like poking the bear or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta realize your place, bro. And you, thanks to her dead husband, has a lot more money than you. So
yeah,
I don't know what he had no end game, but that's because that's who he is. So.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for him that he really lost everything, but at the same time, based on how he operated, he was bound to lose everything.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of ride or die type thing.
Okay, so the next thing that happened is the fire. Do you think the producer, was it Renard?
No, same.
Do you think he started the fire?
I don't know. I didn't reach a conclusion in my mind on that one.
Uh-huh.
I will say, whatever that video is, which for some reason no one knows where it is or who has it, that video definitely looked like him walking hunched over with that cap, that hat that no one wears. But no one knows where it is or who has it.
I didn't know what that video was too, like,
they said
did it show that person starting a fire?
No, it showed that hours before that person walking to that space.
I can believe, based on his body language, I could believe he started the fire. I could also believe Joe started the fire. I could believe anything. What I think got me about the show is that they show all these people. There's not really a narrative. The narrative is Joe's got a lot of bad luck, but they're just giving you the facts, which is fine. It's objective, but I just didn't know how to feel. And they show you all these people and they kind of like support Joe. But as the timeline goes on, you find out that they're an enemy of Joe. So it was kind of hard for me to keep following along. But anyway, so he has a fire, and then he loses his studio, and then the whole reality TV show is gone. So yeah, there's that.
So yeah, that's one I don't know on that one.
I'm trying to figure out how that benefited Joe. It just didn't incriminate him. It helped him.
Yeah, so supposedly there was stuff on video that may have not looked good for him, but I
don't know what it
to burn
was.
it all up, including alligators. That's rough.
I also don't see how you can let somebody film you for that long. I don't know how long he was filming. It seemed like a while.
Yeah, the producer of the show was like, we filmed literally everything for like years.
I don't know how you could let someone film that long and not ever think about that or like stop them from filming. If you thought about it.
Yeah, if you felt like he was doing something wrong, yeah.
And how do you have time as a producer to just go move somewhere and film for years and not have a show? Like not having that
he
work?
was banking on it being, like you said, his retirement. So.
Yeah. Okay, next, this White Knight comes in with some money, Jeff Lowe, to help him fight Carol Baskin. I didn't really understand what the fight was. He just had a lot of mouth. I had hoped he would just pay her off so they could move on, but that didn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, he was a guy with money, supposedly, but that even came into question at one point as to whether he actually has money. He was an animal guy, so he backed Joe. Seemed like a pretty straightforward relationship. This guy's gonna be my investor. Obviously, it got much more complicated.
Yeah, it definitely got more complicated because Joe decides to run for president. I feel like I should have remembered that. He ran for president, then he ran for governor. So I have this overall question. I'm trying to figure out, how did Joe view himself? I can't really...
He thinks he's the greatest thing ever.
Because sometimes, you can tell that someone's doing something because they're insecure or they need all this validation, but he didn't really need that. It just seemed like he couldn't, like there was no substance internally for him to just focus on what was really important to him. Everything was external. It was all about show and the conflict with Carol and the people he was with. It just, I don't know what his heart was, I guess. So anyway, Jeff Lowe doesn't help, and then it looked like Joe got banished from the zoo.
Jeff Lowe did help. He kept him from going under. So they had like he
infused some money.
A lot of money.
Literally, but it still seemed like it wasn't. Well, we can move on from that. The biggest thing, when you think that you've gotten all the story, then the murder for hire thing comes in.
Yeah.
So I really didn't think that they were going to find Joe guilty. I don't think Joe is guilty.
I mean, but as a viewer of the show, you knew he was because they showed him in jail.
Well, there were so many footages from all sorts of times that I didn't know if that was a retrospect or not.
No, they did. And that's what he's doing.
So you think, do you think he did it or not?
No. All of the evidence is circumstantial. And the biggest piece that I could gather was a phone call between Jeff Lowe and this guy he hired to work for him. Didn't involve Joe at all, so you could just do whatever you want with that. But just the premise of you're gonna pay this guy who they've established by this own dude's, I can't remember his name, but this own dude's testimony was
Alan.
Yeah, whatever. He didn't like Joe. They weren't friends. So the whole thing to say that Joe is gonna pay this guy who they both don't like each other $3,000 to go to Florida and kill some woman who doesn't mean anything to this Allen guy, and then that's how they're gonna do it. It's just like,
the main
what are you
question
talking
is,
about?
was he set up? I can 100% believe Jeff Lowe set Joe up.
Yeah, he's a smarter man with more money, so yeah.
I don't know what the benefit would be though.
Because he gets his zoo with no like issues.
See, I had thought he told him to leave.
I mean, yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so there's so much other discussion that can be had. I feel like I need more facts on the actual, like, I need more facts of the story to make better arguments. But Spencer said if we didn't do this tonight, then he wasn't going to do it. So I
Too much on the watch list. I got too many things we gotta watch. Ozark season 3 just came out.
Okay. All right. So you ready to show me some memes?
I'm ready. Pull them up. He already sent a picture that I love. Clearly mashed Trump and Joe Exotic together. I think it's perfect.
It is perfect. It's a better image of both of them.
That's actually true. Yeah, they both look better because Joe Exotic doesn't look so old, and Trump looks not so old.
Joe Exotic, straight male. Is this my next husband? So that was an interesting thing, that there was some insinuation that the men were only with him for meth or for drugs.
I don't think it was insinuation. I think it was proven facts.
But they weren't gay.
Yeah.
But how can you marry somebody for drug money?
I mean, I'm not a meth addict, but I have spoken to addicts and heard so many stories from Dr. Drew that they will literally do anything for meth or heroin or whatever the drug is. That's what they'll do. So I never once, like, from the first shot of his husband, I was like, that dude ain't gay.
Oh, neither of them seem gay.
Yeah, and he was like, he told the story of the young kid that, what's his face?
Travis, that took his life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically like tricked him into saying, oh, I guess maybe I am gay. Like, I'm not gonna get into details on that story, but if you watch, you'll see where he just tricked him into compliance, basically.
Oh my goodness. Yikes. But that's 100% Carol, so that's pretty accurate.
You seen that meme like that?
I haven't seen that meme.
Okay.
T-shirts are necessary when you're being interviewed for a show on the largest streaming service in the world. Changed my mind. Yeah, what was that about? Like, what did they tell him not to wear a shirt? Because that, I mean, it was a vibe.
When you're a redneck meth head, you just, that doesn't come across your mind.
Okay.
He probably never even watched Netflix.
Also, he got his teeth fixed. I looked that up.
No, he did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He was like, we sent the pictures to Netflix, but now that I've watched the show, like, where would they have put those pictures?
Put what pictures?
Of him with his teeth fixed. It didn't go into the story. Okay. Carol, how about we take all these cats in cages here and move the cages over here? That's basically what.
That's my whole thing. I don't get the premise of
big cat rescue. Take them from your cage, put them in my cage, and I'll make the money.
Yeah, I don't like, her whole thing is, just doesn't make sense. If she was someone like there's groups out there that take animals in,
release them,
rehab them, and then release them to the wild, I get it.
Yeah.
She doesn't do that. She puts them in her cages, pays other people to come see them, and then continues to breed them.
Has people pay to come see them.
Yeah.
You said that twice, and I was like, did you really pay people?
It said that.
That she paid people?
No, people paid to come to her place. She's making money just like Joe did to come look at these cats in cages and pet the baby ones.
All right, next. Ha ha, the only way to get a tiger to eat someone is to cover them in sardine oil or something. Excuse me? Very specific.
Yeah, very specific.
Why would I do that? That would be so crazy.
Yeah.
For me to do that. Day 14 of No Sports. Watching a gay zoo manager seduce straight men with tigers and meth. Wow.
That was from a music video. That clip is
I want to say Joe could sing.
He's got a voice.
Yeah. I didn't know if it was like easy to make good country music because I've never heard amateur country music. But no, he was pretty good. Wow.
That's all I got. It's just, yeah. What else can you say?
I guess you do what you gotta do. Okay. Doc Antle, Joe Exotic, and Carol Baskin literally all doing the same thing.
Like, yes.
See, I felt like at first I was thinking that Joe was same caliber as Doc. So when everything just fell apart, I was really disappointed. But I guess it was the lawsuit. He put his energy into the wrong place.
Joe did?
Yeah, because Doc was living a life. He had 3 wives and a couch that had
Joe
all these cushions in it.
Yeah, Joe wasn't able to realize that he could not take on the multi-millionaire of Carol.
No, he couldn't.
He's, bro, when you're the small fish in the big pond, you gotta realize you're the small fish.
You're right. Okay, is this your last one?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I think I can close the Joe Exotic chapter in my heart. I'm satiated. How about you?
I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say. Oh, Doc Antle. So back to the last meeting. So yeah, they're all the same. It's like small, medium, big. Doc Antle. He realizes like, I'm big, but I ain't that big.
Yeah, he was being reticent. He wasn't saying everything.
Like he feels and thought the same way Joe did, but he's like, I'm not gonna go mess around with somebody who's bigger than me.
Bigger and possibly pettier.
He's a smart man. Joe is not a smart man. That's what it came down to. That's the difference between those two. One was smart and one was ego-driven, dumb.
Yeah, that's what it was. Ego-driven. It was about him and his empire. I'm sure he cared about the cats, but it was really about the empire. And Doc said something interesting when he said that people envy the guy with the cats. And I'm like, I have never felt envy for the person working with animals, but I guess that is what it was for them. Like they are creating this image. And I also heard Barack Obama say that being president is about, like, it's a little bit about power.
Oh, it is. You haven't watched House of Cards, have you?
I got through like season 1. But it's interesting that Joe did this one power thing of owning cats and then also try to run for president.
Yeah, he's, yes. Well, he's, in my opinion, probably not guilty of what he's in prison for. He's guilty of many other issues.
I was disappointed to know, I don't know what to think about him shooting the animals. I mean, to me, it makes sense to shoot an animal if it needs to be put down, but I don't know if that was really the case or not.
Yeah, now he said euthanize them, right?
Yeah.
He said you either stick them with a
dart or a gun.
Yeah.
All right, so we've talked about this long enough. I'm sure there are a dozen other reviews you can listen to, but let us know what you think. Do you think?
You ain't gonna rank it.
Do you think he was guilty of murder for hire? Do you think he set the fire? Who do you think set the fire? Who do you think killed Carol's husband? Do you think Joe was a compelling character? Do you feel like the story had no hero? What do you think? Ranking the show, I would give it a 4.
Yep, 4 out of 5.
I mean, Netflix did its best. I don't really have any complaints about it.
I think they crushed it. The story. So a lot of limited series don't have the twists and turns.
Right.
They just drag on. This one literally had all the twists and turns.
It did. Each episode.
Yeah. So I think it's great. 4.
So we give it a 4. Thanks for having this conversation with us. Be sure to leave your comments, and we will be back with another Netflix review, because what else is there to do at this point?
True story.